Hello, and thank you for joining us we have another Q&A with the filmmakers. This is the cast and crew of Family Forever. It's a very, very funny short film, and I'll have them tell you a little bit about it. We're so delighted to have with us Jon, the director, photographer, Mark, and then principal actor, Tayson. So Jon, you writer, director, producer, that's hallmark of indie filmmaking, right? We wear a lot of hats. But tell us about how this idea came about for your film.
Yeah, so I graduated film school at the end of 2015, and I met some friends. It wasn't the first film school I went to. Like I was in a game design program in Utah in like 2010, 2011. And through some friends of friends, I met Mark. And while I was in film school, Mark kind of hit me up on Facebook. We started talking about camera gear and got really deep into it. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I've got a DP friend in Utah. Plus, I had some family in Utah because I live in Denver. So I was going back and forth a ton. And I was like, oh, well, it could be cool if I could like make Utah my thing. That I go out there and I shoot and I bring it back here. And I'm based in Colorado, but I'll do a ton of Utah projects. And it's part of that. I was like, hey, let's do the 2017 48-hour film festival in Utah. So this project started off as a 48-hour film festival project. And it was pretty tough on everybody. We did not get good results. It was sort of a case of maximum effort, minimal results. Just because as a director, one of my weaknesses is overly complex plans. Like I just can't seem to tell short stories. It's just I like to pack a lot into stuff. And plus at film school, we always had crews of like 30 students working on things. This had a crew of 3 behind the camera. And to get down to to go from film school advanced senior level stuff of like 20, 30 people back down to 3 people was just like it was kind of like when the roadrunner Wile E. Coyote runs out over the cliff and he looks down and he falls. That's how this film went. So we did the 48-hour film festival. I was sitting there in the theater watching it, and it was facepalm because it's like, crap, we didn't shoot a beginning to the movie. Like I didn't include the necessary backstory just to tell like why are these people so motivated. We just opened up on that interview, and even with the 48-hour cut, it was we were cutting stuff out, like trying to squeeze it all into 7 minutes. And so I went back, shot fresh footage. So this is the world premiere of the fresh footage, and also being seen in all its glory as intended, because the 48-hour film festival version had really minimal graphics. It didn't have that overlay on Tayson's intro. Um, yeah, and then now this is like proper color correction. So this is like the true vision of how the film was meant to be seen. It only took 4 years.
Before I ask you to kind of give the log line, um, is any of this footage from the 48-hour footage?
Yeah.
So
Is that a
so so
problem?
you just no, I was just curious. So you kind of made a hybrid, like you filled in where you wanted like the opening scene, and then you just kind of built around what you had, right? Is that how I understand it?
Yeah, it's like an enhanced version. I feel like the
Great.
48-hour version was kind of version 0.9. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't what I wanted on the screen by any means. And
Great.
this is the premiere of like how I wanted things to turn out, if we'd
So let me
had.
hear your log line for Family Forever.
Ooh, man. I would say it's 2 ex rock stars are tired. How would I summarize it? I'd say it's two former rock stars are jealous of their viral video star son because they're tired of being pranked, and he pushes them over the edge,
And
and
there
they
is
really.
a dark edge to it. There's definitely a dark edge to it without giving too much away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mark, as we
Mm.
heard, you met Jon early on in through film school, right?
He was going to film school. I was just hanging out here
Okay.
doing random stuff, but had an interest in, I've done kind of independent film projects here and there for a really long time. So
Were there any like what insight do you have in terms of the original 48-hour footage and then John's kind of vision for enhancing it. Were there any challenges, or I mean, I think it's interesting when you go back and revisit something, because I
Mhm.
think you've grown and your perspective has grown. The technology has changed. You know what I mean? So, anything specific to this project?
Um, I think luckily we were able to, the film was originally shot in a house that I was living in at the time. So, going back to do reshoots we needed access to that same location. So luckily I was still living there, and, we were able to get the two actors back on as well. And, we kept it consistent. We shot it on the same camera that we shot the original 48 on. So,
For the continuity.
yeah, so it cuts all the same. And it's been so long that like all these fragmented details are kind of coming back now that we're talking about it and everything. And so like going back to watch the film, until John pointed it out, it's like, oh yeah, we did do reshoots on that. Like, because I was just sort of watching it, and it's seamless for me, I guess, is the point I'm trying
Yeah.
to make.
Well, Mark, I hope you haven't moved out of that house, because there might be a sequel, so you'll never be able to move again until John has exhausted this storyline.
Well, that was actually a problem the other day, because I thought I needed a piece of like a picture of a wall from that house. I was like, Mark, can you sneak back into that house and like this picture of this one part of the wall so I can track it on? Yeah.
Or wait till it's vacant again and just pretend that you're like interested in it, and then So Tayson, how did you get involved in the project? And maybe tell us a little bit about your character, Prince.
Yeah, so first off, and for anyone who's watching this that doesn't know, a 48-hour film festival, that means the entire process of the film is contained with those 48 hours. We drew for a genre and then stayed up late that night brainstorming ideas, included it within that 48 hours. So I was not cast as this character. I was part of the group who helped brainstorm ideas and write, and then we decided what we were doing and who we were playing.
Wait, real fast, what was the genre you drew?
Dark comedy, I believe.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Black comedy, dark comedy, something like that.
It was you three.
So John actually just made a post on a Utah film Facebook page saying, hey, there's a 48-hour film festival in Salt Lake City that I think would be fun to submit to. He knew Mark and he knew his crew, but he didn't have any actors. And my friend Todd, who played my character's father in the film, responded to John and then recruited me and the other. And so none of us had worked together before. I had worked with Todd once, and then John knew his crew, but beyond that, we had never met until this 48-hour film project.
Great. And are you primarily pursuing acting, or is this a side gig, or what's going on?
Definitely pursuing acting. It does not pay the bills yet, but that's a hope to make a career, at least in entertainment and show business of some form, if not primarily acting. But yeah.
Great. John, you said something really interesting about how the transition from film school to like real life is a little bit shocking. And I've always said that because, when you work out of a film school, you have all this access to equipment and assistants and things like that. And then when you go out on your own and everything's out of your own pocket, like it's very, very different, it's like feast or famine, so I thought that was a really interesting point, and I think anyone who's in independent filmmaking will recognize film school is very, very different from your own projects.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking time out and telling us about your project. It's a fun project. I encourage everyone to watch it. So this will, unfortunately, we don't have a live event. That would have been awesome, but thank you so much. So DLFF Film Festival is online 2021, May 28th to 29th. you can see Family Forever as well as the other films for free starting at noon on May 28th. Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.